This photo spread around the world, and the story was widely discussed. But let's start from the beginning. How did a murder happen on live television, watched by millions? In 1984, a story unfolded that is still talked about today. Photos and videos of those events have been preserved. Yet even now, its ending is astonishing. Everyone who knew about it asked themselves one question: how would I have acted in this situation? In 1983, in the city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, lived the Plauché family. They were an ordinary American family: Father Harry, Mother June, and their 4 children: Harry Jr., Michael, Jennifer, and the youngest 10-year-old Jody. Harry Plauché worked as a sales agent, but his true passion was sports. In his free time, he coached a local children's American football team where his sons also played. Jody was a very active child. Football alone wasn't enough for him, so he convinced his parents to enroll him in a karate class. This class was very popular in the city, largely thanks to the coach, Jeff Doucet. He had a natural way with kids, making training sessions exciting and easily earning their trust. Like many others, Jody was thrilled with his new mentor. Doucet was relatively new to Baton Rouge. He didn't own any property and lived in the same building where he conducted his training sessions. He had few friends in the city and often spent his free time with the children from his class, which at first raised no suspicions. One evening, during a family dinner, Jody, inspired by his karate lessons, shared an interesting observation with his relatives. He told them that his coach, Jeff Doucet, didn't have a home of his own, lived in the gym, and seemed very lonely. Hearing this, the head of the family, Harry, thought for a moment and suggested, "Why don't we get to know your coach better? Let's invite him over for Sunday dinner." From that moment on, Doucet became a frequent guest in the Plauché household. The family welcomed him warmly, and over time he grew so close to them that they invited him over several times a month. After training sessions, Doucet often gave Jody a ride home, and the boy, who admired his coach, slowly began to see him as a second father. At the same time, Jody's parents' marriage began to fall apart. Harry started drinking heavily, and it was no surprise that this led to constant arguments with June. The parents were on the brink of divorce, and the atmosphere in the Plauché household was filled with tension and shouting. To escape the chaos at home, Jody tried to spend as much time away as possible. His friendship with his coach became a kind of lifeline for him. He stayed at the gym longer than the other kids, rode skateboards with Doucet, and went to amusement parks. Like many children, he was captivated by Jeff Doucet, but soon everything changed. On February 19th, 1984, Doucet picked Jody up from his home to take him to practice. The Plauché family trusted him completely, so for Jody's parents, this seemed like an ordinary, unremarkable event. By that time, Jody's parents were already living separately, and he was staying with his mother. Doucet was supposed to bring Jody back home by 3 p.m., but for some reason, that didn't happen. Worried, June set aside her pride and called Jody's father. Harry picked her up, and together they went to the karate school. When they arrived, they were shocked to learn that Doucet hadn't shown up at the gym at all that day. Without a second thought, Harry and June rushed to the police, since the case involved a missing child. The authorities took immediate action. They searched the gym where Doucet had been living and discovered that most of his belongings were gone. This only reinforced the officers' suspicions. A federal manhunt was launched, and the FBI joined the case, but too much time had already been lost, and the search yielded no results. The story continued as follows. On February 28th, 9 days after her son's disappearance, the phone rang in the Plauché household. June picked up the receiver, and her heart frowned. And the other end of the line was Doucet. His voice was cold and emotionless as he calmly stated that she would never see her child again. Panic gripped June, her voice trembling and rising to hysteria, but Doucet remained indifferent. He was about to hang up when suddenly a loud thud was heard on the other end of the line. The next moment, the call was abruptly cut off, leaving June in complete terror and confusion. Doucet had no idea that June's phone was being monitored by the FBI. It took the agents only a few minutes to track the caller's location. They discovered that the call had been made from a hotel in California City, nearly 3,000 kilometers away from Baton Rouge. This revelation was a major breakthrough in the investigation, bringing the agents closer to solving the mystery of the missing child. While June was speaking with Doucet, the FBI wasted no time. Within just 10 minutes, they organized a raid right in the middle of the call. Police Officers burst into room 10 of the hotel, where the kidnapper was hiding. Fortunately, the abducted boy was there. He was immediately rescued and taken to a hospital for a medical examination. After undergoing the necessary tests, Jody flew home to Louisiana the very next day on March 1st, 1984 at the airport. His parents, Father Harry and Mother June, were waiting for him, finally able to embrace their son again. During a session with a child psychologist held in the presence of his parents, Jody confidently claimed that Doucet had not harmed him in any way. However, the laboratory test results soon arrived, proving otherwise. For June and Harry, it was a devastating blow. Now that the truth was undeniable, Jody had no reason to lie anymore, and he finally opened up about everything. On March 16th, 2 weeks after his arrest, the coach was flown to Louisiana to await trial in a local prison for some unexplained reason. He was very talkative during the flight. At around 9 p.m., Doucet arrived in Louisiana. The case had received widespread media coverage, so numerous TV cameras were waiting at the airport. They filmed the molester as he walked, escorted by 2 officers. Then, suddenly, an unexpected figure entered the frame. A man stood near the payphones, seemingly making a call, but in a swift motion, he pulled out a gun and fired at Doucet, who collapsed to the ground, dead. Detectives immediately subdued the shooter, with the boy's father, Harry, cursed himself for failing to see Doucet for what he truly was. He had invited him into his home, placed complete trust in him, and ultimately failed to protect his son. The guilt consumed him more unbearable than any physical pain. The only thing that could bring him any solace was revenge. Like many others, he knew when Doucet's flight would arrive, Harry disguised himself so he wouldn't be recognized and blended in as an ordinary airport visitor, and when Doucet was led past him, he carried out his plan, shooting him at almost point-blank range. The detectives instantly recognized Harry, restrained him, and pinned him against the wall. After his arrest, Gary Plauché was charged with second-degree murder. The prosecutor demanded a 20-year prison sentence, but Gary's lawyers skillfully built his defense. They proved that the father had been in an extreme state of distress for days, and that the killing was committed in a state of emotional shock. As a result, the charge against Gary was reduced to manslaughter. However, the final sentence shocked everyone. Gary was sentenced to 7 years of probation and 300 hours of community service, along with a lifetime ban on firearm possession. The judge explained the verdict by stating that there was virtually no risk of the crime being repeated, and that imprisoning Gary would bring absolutely no benefit to society. In the end, despite having killed a man, Gary Plauché did not spend a single day in prison. The brother of the slain Doucet said that he no longer believed in the fairness of the U.S. justice system. Jody Plauché fully recovered from the trauma he had suffered, grew up to be a normal, well-adjusted man, started a family, and began working at a rehabilitation center for children who had been victims of sexual abuse. As for his father, on October 23, 2014, shortly before his death, reporters asked him if he regretted his actions. Without hesitation, Gary responded that he would have killed Doucet a second time